Welcome back to Blind Man Morris, and it's all about fault diagnosis today. So we've just done a front end engine refurbishment on our 1961 Morris here. So that was engine out, clutch in, uh, painting, derusting, all those sorts of things. And then we put the engine back in and put the keys in, and it didn't start. So what we normally do is and this is exactly what happened, is we ran around like chickens without heads, looking at one thing, then another, and not going through it systematically. And we thought to ourselves, do you know what would be really good? Is a step by step guide to how you fault diagnose by going through a systematic step by step process to find out what the problem is. Um, and we went out there and had a look for a book that did that, and they haven't got one. So we wrote one, and here it is. Morris Minor Fault Diagnosis. It was working perfectly yesterday. Written by me and my wife, or mostly my wife, and I chipped in going, no, that's not right. And then we redid it. So it's about 140 pages long. It's on Amazon. So if you look up fault diagnosis in Morris Minor, it will come up. We've had it proofread by three people, two of which are Morris Minor experts. So Mark from the YouTube channel, A Work in Progress. Thanks very much, Mark. And if you want to see how real YouTube channels run with some good Morris content, go over to that. And Anthony from the MMOC who read it and told us that we missed out bump stops, which are really important. Thanks, Anthony. Oh, and I've got half a carb in my workshop for some reason. And a special thanks to Steve, who has no connection with Morris Minors or classic cars at all, who's Amber's dad, but who is an author who helped us with some formatting, proofreading, and text and fonts and size and all the important things to do with books, which we had no idea about. So, several months in the making, we've come up with this book, and we actually used it to diagnose two faults on two of our cars in the last 3 days. On this one, it was step by step fault diagnosis of finding out why our engine would spin but not start. And after we stopped flapping about and actually read the book, it led us to a connection which was missing on the coil, which was found much quicker. I don't know why we didn't just read our own book. And again, on our rat rod, it was struggling to start, but once it started, it ran beautifully, and it was just dirty points. And funnily enough, we've been talking about this recently. All the issues we seem to have with our Morrises tend to be 90% of the time, if they're starting and running issues, it tends to be 90 times out of 100 on the ignition side. That's what we've come to the conclusion of. So make sure your ignition parts are really good and everything's sweet and tight. And buy this book 'cause I think it's really good. And Amber did a great job. Thanks, love.
No worries.